Crafty Cuties, welcome back to another video. This is going to be just an overview video talking about this new paper crafting sewing series that I have going on for you guys. I know a lot of people are very interested in sewing paper and a lot of people have many questions. I'm actually going to do a Q&A, so if you have any questions for me, anything that I did not cover in this series, feel free to leave them below this video and I will do a Q&A video coming up soon. So today I just want to go over a few basic things before we get into the series, and I just wanted to kind of give you a brief overview. And so a lot of people are asking if you need a certain type of sewing machine to sew paper, and you don't. You can use any regular sewing machine. I've actually tried a handful of different sewing machines, really expensive, really inexpensive, and they all work as well as the sewing machine works. You don't need a certain type of thread, you don't need a certain type of needle. I have heard some people say that you need to use like different types of needles and whatnot. I just use the basic needle that my sewing machine comes with, and I've never had any issues. I just use an all-purpose thread, and I really don't do anything different. Now, if you're a beginner sewer, of course there's going to be, you know, somewhat of a learning curve to learn how to sew, but from what I've found, I don't see any differences between fabric and paper. There are a few things that I want to point out that I think is going to make your overall experience a little bit easier, and we'll get into that right now. So most sewing machines have the option to choose what length your stitch will be. And basically that's just going to be the length in between one stitch from the next. Now, not all sewing machines have this, but like I said, from what I've experienced, most do. This is a digital screen here, and so this top number, the 2.5, is going to be what the stitching length is at this setting. So I always like to make sure that when I am stitching on paper, I have either a 2 or bigger. Anything over a 2 is good, and I'll show you what that difference looks like in just a moment. And some of the different options that I have on my sewing machine start at a smaller stitch length. So you can see the top here where it says 1.4. I always like to bring this up to at least a 2.5 or a 3. Otherwise, when the stitches are too close together, you could risk your paper being ripped. So let's go ahead and see what this looks like. So I'm going to start out by sewing a little piece here for you, and I'm just using some cardstock. I'm going to lift my presser foot, and we're going to start sewing at the 3 here. And then right next to it, I'm going to change that length to a 1. So again, all sewing machines are going to be different. Not all of them have this option, but this is why I like this sewing machine so much. So, okay, here we go. And I'm not trying to get this straight, just trying to show you the differences here. So keep in mind that this was the same stitch style, just a crisscross. So over to the left here was the 3.0, and then over to the right is the 1. So you can see that the holes are a lot closer together, obviously because the stitch is closer together on the right hand side. This might not be a problem all the time, but if you're using a thinner piece of paper, or if you're using something like vellum, you definitely can risk your paper ripping just because those holes are closer together. So that's just one tip that I wanted to throw out there, because for me it's kind of a big deal, and when I have used the stitches that are closer together, I have found sometimes that I might get a tear. I mean, it's not going to be likely, it's not something that's going to happen, you know, for sure, but just to throw that out there. The next tip that I wanted to give for paper crafting type sewing is to make sure always to end your stitch with a back stitch. So I'm going to show you how to do that on this sewing machine. And so basically I'm going to we'll do a straight stitch for this one. So I'm just gonna go ahead and actually sew on just a teeny little tuck spot on this paper. Just normal like I would. And then when you get to the end of your stitch, like I said, you want to do a back stitch. Now every sewing machine is going to be different, but for this particular model, you actually just press this button and then you're going to press down on your foot. And it's going to do, I just like to do a couple stitches backwards is basically what it's doing. And then for me, I also like to go back forward over that same spot, just a couple more stitches. So you can see right at the top there, there's just a few extra stitches and it's just going to be a lot more secure since we are sewing onto paper. But there we have our teeny little pocket and we are good to go. Again, I just wanted this to be a brief overview into the sewing series. I'm going to show you how to thread this specific sewing machine, how to load and thread the bobbin on the specific sewing machine, and then I will do a Q&A, and I'm also going to show you a few techniques and things that I like to do that involve sewing paper, and that will be coming soon. If you have any requests or anything that you want to see specific, then let me know, and I hope these videos are helpful to you guys. I will talk to you later. Bye!